Hi everyone, I am Danny. Have you ever been to Limon or the Atlantic part of Costa Rica? Besides its beautiful and breathtaking beaches and calm places, this place is filled with mouth-watering, not your typical Gallo Pinto dishes, which is what this show is all about. In Costa Rica, rice and beans and Gallo Pinto are two very different dishes. And although they have the same ingredients, rice and beans, they are made and they definitely taste different too. So for this show purpose, when I talk about rice and beans, I mean the Caribbean dish that was brought to Costa Rica and is super famous in Limon or the Atlantic side. It's made with coconut milk, habanero pepper, and its distinguished mildly spicy flavor and aroma won't disappoint you. Because I grew up in the Atlantic side in a very small farm in Guasimo, these dishes, rice and beans, fried green plantains, coconut cream chicken, and let's not forget our pico de gallo, are close to my heart, and I hope you get to try it, or even better, make them at home. By the way, if you would like to see a few more pictures of this amazing place, along with my family and I enjoying the ocean, I made a little slideshow at the end. So please stay. But for now, to start with, we're gonna do our beans right here. And this dish in specific, we're gonna start with our rice and beans. And remember, rice and beans for this show is the Caribbean dish. So the key ingredient for this is this is a huge debate because this pepper right here, and for those who like spicy food know how spicy this is. But surprisingly, this dish is not very spicy. The key for this is to put the pepper whole. And in Costa Rica, we call this Panamanian pepper. But in Panama, they actually call it ají chombo. And here I think it's called, like Mexican call them like the habanero or habanero pepper. So I'm gonna call it the Panamanian pepper, which is where I grew up with, or el chile panameño, which is what we call it in Costa Rica in Spanish. So the chile panameño or the Panamanian pepper and thyme are the key ingredients for this dish. Both the rice, and over here I have the rice right here, it's been soaking, and I have the beans right there, like right here. They're both made very, very similar. We're gonna add coconut milk, and we're gonna start with the rice right here because the beans, I wanna show on the screen what I did already with the beans. I already cooked them at home and I brought them cooked. So we're gonna start with the rice right now just because I already cooked the beans, and I'm gonna show you how I cooked them. And I added some, again, coconut milk is the key for this. It brings it the really, really good flavor. So I basically cooked the same way that I'm doing with the rice. I added water and 1 can of coconut milk. I actually found, where is it? I found, and I really liked it, I found this coconut milk with turmeric in it, and I loved it. So at home I cooked, and I didn't do it today, but I cooked it at home. I cooked the rice with the one with turmeric. So the rice looks yellow, so that gives it a really nice, like a healing touch to it. And now our key ingredients we're gonna be adding. And the spices, this is all about the spices. We're gonna add a whole thing of thyme, and thank you plain. I love that I have the plain handy. If you don't have the plains handy at home, you can buy them fresh, or you can have dried as well. I have the dry plain right here. Here we go. Have the dry thyme right here. So we're gonna add some dry as well. And like I said, the key for this is the habanero or the Panamanian pepper. And please be careful. You cannot, unless you really like spicy food, but you cannot let it explode on your dish. So we're just going to like make holes all around it, so it delivers, it brings out the flavor, and you're gonna smell it. It's gonna smell awesome once it starts to cook. I already smell it. So don't make too many, and we're gonna add them. We're gonna put them right there. There are different kinds of Panamanian peppers. I think there is red, orange, and this green one. I think I have an orange right here. Somewhere, right here. They all have the same amount of spice. So we can just do whatever. We're gonna add some red pepper, which is sweet. We're gonna add some cilantro. And like I said, the dishes that we have in the Caribbean are very, very different than one we have in the Pacific side, which is what most people go to. Most people go in Costa Rica to Guanacaste. But in the Caribbean, which is where I grew up, they have very different dishes. In another show, I will show more of them, which is like a coconut sweet type of dessert. But for now, we're gonna focus on these, and the fried plantains are gonna bring out even better flavor to it. We're gonna add some garlic to it and some spices. So I have here some dill. We're just gonna sprinkle some, and these we're gonna add like a quarter teaspoon of some of these. We're gonna put some turmeric. Again, if I would have done the coconut milk with turmeric, I would not have added any right now, but because I didn't, then I'm going to add it right now. And the beans, like I said, are cooked the same way. We're gonna add the same thing, and then we're gonna bring them out together here on this pan. So while all of this cooks, I'm gonna start cooking. I'm gonna start putting some butter on the pan to start bringing the rice and beans together. We'll be right back. Okay, so our rice and beans are already cooked. As you can see, our beans, you can use any kind of beans. I like the kidney red beans. They're thick and big. And our rice right here, as you can see, it has some of the thyme. So we're gonna take that out. And people like to put the whole stem like that with the leaf, and then they take it out at the end, which is what I'm gonna do right now. So that way people are not chewing it. So the first thing, I have some butter right here melting. Where is my, there we go. And we're gonna show the beans in a little bit, but for now we're gonna melt the butter, which is a key thing here. You can use coconut oil as well. And in the Atlantic side, we grew up with all coconuts and plantains and rice and beans, and because it was a farm, things were ready available. So we're just going to put some rice in here and let it cook or just warm for a little bit if it is not warm. Like on my case, I have more thyme right here and more. And I had already put, like you said, like red peppers. And the key of these rice right now is we're gonna start the beans. I'm gonna show the beans here before we start mixing them together. The beans here, actually, in this case, my Panamanian pepper exploded. I forgot to take it out, and before I did, I started stirring it, and literally it exploded, and you could, the whole house smelled like very, very spicy smell, but it was awesome. And then I called my mom, and my mom was like, oh no, but then thank goodness the rice I didn't cook the rice with the whole pepper, so it actually brings balance to the dish. When I made it at home a few days ago, it turned out awesome because this was very spicy, so we can control how much or how spicy our final product would be based on how much sauce or the broth. We're gonna pour some of the broth into the rice, so it brings out balance. But if you cook both with the pepper, and if you don't like a lot of spice to it, so make sure that you actually, before you stir, you take the pepper out, and that way it won't be too much of the spice. So like I said, the key thing is to start pouring some sauce into the rice, so it's gonna start to get the same color, and this is very spicy, so we won't add too much, just because in my house, we don't like a lot of spicy foods. We like mildly spicy like this one. And the habanero, if you know how spicy it is, it brings out just a good amount of spice. And then we add the beans. And for the Gallo Pinto, if you have tried Gallo Pinto, you know that it has almost equal amounts, or 60% rice and 40% beans. In the rice and beans, which is the one we're making, it has a lot less beans. It's more rice than the beans. But of course, you can add the amount that you would like to. And we're gonna start pouring some, I'm gonna add some coconut aminos. I really like how this brings out a little bit more flavor to it. And we're gonna let it simmer there and just cook for a little bit longer until we go right back to our chicken. And the chicken, again, is gonna have, if you want to, the Panamanian pepper, but you don't have to since this already has the spice to it. So we're gonna let it simmer. We're gonna simmer down and not too hot. And so we'll be right back for our chicken. Okay, now that we have our rice and beans here almost ready, we're gonna start going with our creamy chicken. And this chicken is made very different ways, but I am gonna make it, and since I didn't use the turmeric coconut milk before, I'm gonna use it right now. So we just pour, I also added some butter before, so I just pour some of the coconut milk in there. And again, we're gonna add a lot of spice to it, and the key to this is that we have to add some sort of thickening agent. And in this case, I'm gonna use arrowwood powder. If you don't have this, you can use any other thickening agent you have at home. So in order to thicken, we need this. So make sure you have that on hand. And again, we're gonna use some of our thyme. We're gonna put it whole. If you wanna chop it, you can if you want to, but it's not necessary. You can just take it out at the end, and we're gonna use both planes for this. We're gonna add some, since we already added turmeric, we won't do that. I'm gonna add some dry thyme. We're gonna add some cilantro, dry cilantro. I won't add the fresh cilantro on this one since the other one already have the fresh cilantro. So we're gonna put dry cilantro in here. The fresh one really, I love the fresh one. I usually choose fresh herbs, but in this case, I'm just gonna put it like this. And of course, let's not forget about salt. Salt is one of the key things for every dish. And for this chicken, I'm also gonna add oregano. And oregano is awesome mixed with thyme. So we're gonna just add some leaves, and you can take them out at the end as well. And as you can see, I'm gonna turn it up so it can start boiling. I already added and we're gonna add peppers too. We're gonna add some peppers. The red peppers, again, it brings like a sweet flavor to it. And let's see, we're gonna stir and let it completely boil. And let's not forget, the last thing we need is our Panamanian pepper, or el chile panameño. We're gonna put one, and we're gonna put it right in. We're gonna try to put it in the middle. Oh, I forgot to prick it. Again, we have to prick it. And don't stir it too much. Do not stir the chicken a lot, otherwise it's going to go everywhere, especially the seeds. But if you do like spicy, go ahead and have fun with it. So we're just gonna add it over there, and we're gonna let it boil, and then we're gonna add our thickening agent, which is the arrowwood powder, in a little bit once it's boiling. We won't do it right now, so that way I know how much to add. Usually from 2 tablespoons to 4 tablespoons of the thickening agent. So right now we're gonna let it boil, and then the best part is gonna come. We're gonna make in Costa Rica, these are called, what we're gonna do is patacones or fried plantains. They're very fun to make, and so stay tuned for that. We'll be right back. Okay, so we are back. Before we do our plantains, and as you can see, I already got a little ahead and started peeling them, which is a little tricky, but I'll show you a little trick to it. So right now, because our chicken, it's already boiling, we're going to be pouring about, I'm gonna put 2 big tablespoons of the arrowwood powder. And what you wanna do is you wanna take some of the broth that you were cooking the chicken with, and separately in another bowl, and mix it here with the arrowwood powder until it's all dissolved. So that way it doesn't create like creams in there. So we're gonna just mix it all really well, and once it's mixed and there are no like lumps of the powder in there, we're gonna pour it into the chicken, and that's gonna make it like not very thick. We don't want it too thick, but we don't want it too runny either. So that way we can taste all the flavors together coming in there. Again, we're gonna keep on boiling it in there, and you can see already how the broth is starting to get all the flavor of it. And let's not forget about the pepper. Our pepper is swimming in there in some way, so I'm trying to make sure that it doesn't explode on me or my kids won't eat dinner tonight. So the next thing is our plantains, our flying plantains, and I have this skillet. It's an iron skillet, and I really love it because it cooks very evenly and fast. It heats up. It takes a little while to heat up, but once it heats up, it really it's quick. So the plantains, I'm going to show you guys a little trick that my mom and grandma taught me. We're going to cut it in 3 parts. So we're going to cut the little edges, and we're going to cut it in 3 parts. Let's see, and once we cut it in 3 parts, we're actually going to make like little lines around it. So that way it's easy to peel. So once we make the little lines, we peel them. You see how easy it comes off? We peel them like you would peel like an orange or something, except it's a little bit easier. Do you see that? So I already did that one. We're going to do the other 2. And once we do that, again, we do lines, and then we peel them. And then the peel comes up really easily, and we don't have to do a lot. And now our oil, I did coconut oil, by the way. I have it right here. So I have the coconut oil. If you want to use butter, you can use butter as well, but I like to use coconut oil, and in the Atlantic, or where I was from, we use coconut oil a lot. So here we go. We're going to be cutting probably 1 to 2 inches of the plantains and fry them first. These are going to turn out kind of like a tortilla or a chip at the end, but for now we have to fry them, and you can see how the pan is already all heat up, and you're going to see starting to turn the color. The color turns like it's going to be a little darker. The yellowish is going to be a little bit darker. So again, we're going to make it not too thick, but not too thin, so that way we can we're going to press them with a tortilla presser. And we're going to sprinkle some salt and pepper on the actual oil, so that way they absorb some of it. And we're going to play around with it a little bit. This is pretty fun if you like to cook and make these type of things. There we go. As you can see, some of them are already ready to be flipped, and I'm going to flip it in a little bit. I'm just going to sprinkle some of my salt on the actual pan and on the actual, and in my splash some oil, so be careful with that not to get burned. So we're gonna get my little fork. Okay, so now we have our chicken going on, and our rice and beans is pretty much almost done, and our plantains are ready to be flipped. So we're going to be flipping our plantains until they are like not completely golden brown, but as you can see, some of them already are. So we're going to try to do as fast as we can. And after this, here comes the trick. We're going to be putting 2 or 3 of these plantains together on our tortilla maker, and we're going to be putting them together, and we're going to be pressing them and then putting them back on our grill, on our iron pan grill right here. So once they're cooked, we're going to be pressing them together. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're back, and these plantains, I already tried one. As you can see right here, that one turned out pretty good. They're like chips, like I already said. So we're gonna put 2 of them together. If they're not too thick, you can put like up to 3, but these are pretty thick. Or you can do 1 again. So we're gonna try both ways. We're gonna do 2. So again, we just press them, and look how beautiful these came out. This is awesome. I think this is my best one ever. So we're just gonna keep it over there, and we're gonna do 1. Let's try this one right here that is pretty big and thick. It's gonna be smaller than the other ones, but it's okay. So it's regardless of what you would like and what you like. And here we go, look at that. That came out pretty good. Okay, so I think they're ready to be flipped, and we are going to flip them right here. As you can see how they're already golden. Once they're golden, like that one right here, it doesn't need much anymore. and we're going to be making refried beans to go with our pico de gallo. And look how beautiful this came out. In Costa Rica, if you go to, I think even in the Pacific they would serve these ones, but it's very famous on the other part of Costa Rica. We're gonna let those cook. We're gonna take them out because we need to make them right here. But we're gonna go back to our chicken because our chicken is pretty much done. So we're gonna put them right there. And then we're gonna go back to our chicken here. As you can see how beautiful it is. It's already thickened. That habanero pepper, it's still floating in there without any bursting, anything like that. So it's looking beautiful. Our rice and bean is also done, which I love it. I can't wait to eat it and try it. Maybe my kids would try it here on camera. Now we're going to be making, now there are plantains, if you can see them right here, or some of them are almost ready right here too. So we're going to go ahead and go and make our pico de gallo and refried beans to go along with our plantains and our whole dish. Stay tuned. Okay, so our plantains are done. This is our last one, and I just wanted to show you guys how when you cook them after you have pressed them, they actually get a little fluffy. You can see that this one, when I press it down, it gets a little fluffy. So it's like a real tortilla, and it doesn't need pretty much anything else. So I love, these are our chips, our patacones. I think they are also called in other places, they are called tostones, I'm not sure. So, but again, those are done. And what we're going to go ahead with, and this is one of my 101 recipes of lemons that we're gonna make on this show. It's our pico de gallo. Our pico de gallo is so easy. I already cut up some, I did Roma tomatoes. Roma tomatoes, I find that they are the best for the pico de gallo because they are firm and not too clumsy. So I really love the Roma tomatoes. So we're gonna do, I'm gonna use both fresh lemon and some of the lemon juice that I bought. Again, remember the ingredients is only one, which is the lemons, and they are cold pressed. So we're gonna just fresh squeeze some, and we're gonna pour some more of the juice over there. And this is the key to this. You can also do apple cider vinegar combined with the lemon. Okay, so now we're gonna add some salt. This is the completely salt and lemon is the key to the pico de gallo. People like to add other stuff to it. Like I did some apple cider vinegar before, but I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm gonna add some dry cilantro, which I would rather have fresh, but I don't have fresh. I had some frozen at home, but I don't have one right now. So I'm just gonna add some some dry cilantro. I'm gonna add some coconut aminos as well. If you have soy sauce and you're okay with soy, then you can do soy sauce as well. And we're gonna just mix it very well. I also like to add some red peppers. You can do onions, you can use celery, you can use many combinations as you like. You can use yellow peppers, green peppers, orange peppers, anything and everything you like goes along with the pico de gallo. And we're gonna leave that right there. Now we have our refried beans. Our refried beans are very easy to make, and I have already made them at home. All I did was to scoop some of our, I'm gonna do it right here. If you can see our beans, I just scoop some of our beans from the pan and I put them in the blender. You can add spices to it. You can add salt. If your beans were not cooked with spices, like mine were cooked with a lot of spices. You know, they were cooked in, actually I did bone broth as well with my beans. I cooked them in bone broth, coconut cream, and coconut milk, and I added a lot of spices while they were cooking. So now the refried beans, all I did was to pour some without the broth. Make sure, otherwise they're gonna be too runny, and you don't want them runny. You want them thick like this one. If you can see, I'm gonna cut. I'm gonna take a piece of the plantain so you guys can see that this is very thick. So if you want it runny, it's okay, but I don't like it runny, I like it thick. So make sure, we're gonna put it right there because it's gonna go with our plantains. Make sure when you do your fried plantains, when you take out the beans, you have like a strain it out so you can strain out the broth or the liquidy part and just blend the actual beans. And these beans were cooked and the pepper exploded, so they're a little spicy, but because it doesn't have a lot of the sauce, it's actually a nice touch to our fried plantains. So all our dishes is ready. I'm gonna put it all together and we'll be right back. So our dish came together very nicely. I am so in love with this, and I hope you guys get to try it at home. I already tried it, but it was so good. The spice is just right. It's not too spicy. I don't really like spicy, but this is absolutely perfect. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you can make it at home. If you have any questions, and if you do try, please send me a message and see how it came out. I hope you guys join me in my next show. Thank you.